he's on top. Million subs, he never gonna flop. Out of Chicago, where the streets don't sleep. Betting on games, making cash real deep. Crystal ball for sports, he knows the lines. He's a sports aficionado, the money he finds. From football to basketball, he's always on point. Predicting winners never disappoints. He's got that hustle, that Chicago vibe. Making moves on the streets, cash on the side. With E, you know it's always a bet. He's the king of the game, never forget.
Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports show for April 1st. How's everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. Absolutely loaded episode for you today. My boy Okane from the hotbed of Milwaukee is this week's special guest. Him and I are going to share our final four bets, and Gino will have his horse racing bet of the day. Before you get into all that, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, JustOutTennis.store. Go to JustOutTennis.store, use promo code ETOFT21, 10% off your order, and Prop Hex Betting Exchange. Go to the App Store, download them, use promo code ETOFT21. You get 2% back on all your bets for the first month. Now, let's see what Gino has cooking for us over at Keeneland for opening day.
Opening day at Keeneland is on Friday, so we got a quick best bet for you on the Friday card. It's going to come in race number 7. I thought the 3, Smoke 'em Wicked, a little bit interesting. This is a sprinter. He comes out of a really strong edition of the Rebel. Remember, Sandman, who was 3rd in that Rebel, came back to win the Arkansas Derby. Tastic was also in there. He came back to win the Louisiana Derby. I think Smoke 'em Wicked on the cutback can sit close and have a little late punch in here. Pretty interesting price because a lot of money is going to come in on Colloquial, understandably so. I think Smoke 'em Wicked can compete. 10-1 on the morning line. Anything around 6-1 I think is fair value. Best of luck this weekend on opening weekend at Keeneland.
Make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me, Gino B. Doing some lot of good stuff for DRF.com. Make sure to check them out. They have some incredible sports book bonuses they are doing. Now, let's welcome this week's special guest, my boy, Okane. How you doing today, my man?
I'm good, man. Happy to be back, and no better spot to wrap up college basketball season.
It's been a fun tournament, entertaining tournament. I've had some heartbreaks along the way. Texas Tech, 20-1, Final Four, did it in November. A heartbreak. My Survivor contest, I had it mapped out, like just picture perfectly mapped out with Texas Tech. Heartbreak. But you know what? Live to fight another day. What's your takeaway from this tournament? Like what?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's bitching about the same thing. I mean, everybody's bitching about the chalk. It's funny. I didn't join your Survivor League or anybody's bracket anything this year because I had pretty much nothing but 1s and 2s. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be that guy. I had St. John's going all the way, so I still had my heartbreak in there as well. I chose the 1/2 seed that got knocked out. But no, I don't think the chalk is necessarily bad. You're going to get seasons like this where, you know, the good teams rise to the top, and it leads to really, really good weekends like we had this past weekend. I think was solid, and I think we're going to get a great weekend this weekend.
See, for someone like me, I hate it. I want the Cinderella. I like the dogs, dude. I like the dogs. Maybe that's just.
I don't disagree. There's such a. The only thing that sucks is when you get a dog like St. Pete's, and then they do make it to these later weekends, and it's like, oh god, then it's blowout season. But you see that even with good teams, so it's tough. And this year, yeah, it was.
Your point is completely right. I mean, the better these teams, like these games should be absolutely phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
the Elite 8 games, the Tennessee Houston game, I was a little bit disappointed in that. Houston ran him out of the building. What was it? Michigan State broke my heart.
Same here.
Well, I'm trying to think what was the other game?
Well, I mean,
Texas Tech broke my heart.
Yeah, Texas Tech. I couldn't believe it. I thought Texas Tech had that thing in the bag, and even Arkansas did a good job hanging in there. I mean, there was a lot of good teams like basketball this weekend, and that's all we can ask for.
My first thing is like, look, I am Sparty to the core. I absolutely loved what I saw from this team this season. I know they're going to be losing some pieces. Akins, Figueroa, Zabala to graduation. Holloman, totally shocker. He entered the portal today. Norman and Booker, as expected, enter the portal. And obviously Richard's going to be going to the draft. But I'm a little bit excited about next season. I think Carr's going to take that big leap forward. We saw his jumper keep improving as the season goes on. And if he does this, he's going to give Michigan State something they haven't had in a while, a pro three. They have not had a pro at the three position forever, which is going to be absolutely huge for him. Fears, look, he's coming off that gunshot injury, really kind of a freshman type year this season. Even I know it was his redshirt freshman year, lost a year of development, looks solid defensively, great lead guard, great leader, needs to obviously develop that jumper for floor spacing, but he's the kind of lead guard that Izzo wants. We need to remember Tang came as a freshman. He is a spot up shooter, is going to be great for spacing. He's going to be on the floor next season. Freshman coming in, McCulloch, Ward, who from what I heard is one of the most college ready recruits MSU has had in a while, and Scott going to be adding some intriguing front court depth. But the thing is, they're going to need to hit the portal hard. Guards are very depleted with Richardson gone, Holloman gone, Norman gone. They need to add some guards. And when we look at who's there from the mid-major level, and even the guard from Xavier, whose name I'm spacing on, there's a lot of scoring guards they can pick from the portal. And I'm really excited because this is going to be the first year that Izzo is really going to be forced to hit that portal hard and fill some key positions. And I'm going to say it right now. I think if they get the right guard, Sparty's going to be back, and I think they're going to make the Final Four next year because of the expected jump I'm expecting from Fears and Carr.
No, I think I liked Michigan State a lot. I pulled back. I tweeted that it was going to be my game of the year to end out vacation happily. Did not lay that hard, but no, I'm in a similar spot. I'm a Badger fan, so my Wisconsin Badgers are going to be almost completely new team to me next year. But similar, they're going to be forced to hit the portal. We could use another scoring guard. Hopefully teams looked at how well it worked out for John Tonje. Maybe we do end up getting somebody there that works, but yeah, no, I mean, as far as the tournament, the big thing that stood out to me as far as the teams that remain, it's kind of cool. We get 4 teams that do differ. You get Florida, you get the crazy tempo, high scoring. You get Houston, great 3-and-D, Auburn, all these vets. And then you get Duke, you get the number 1 draft pick. I mean, how often do we get the number 1? I think back to the days of Ben Simmons not even making the tournament with LSU, and now we get the number 1 pick, obviously 1 game away from a national championship game. So I do feel spoiled with the last 4 that we get. Obviously, the route to get here was a little lackluster, but at the end of the day, I want to see the best teams playing. I think we got the best teams out there.
For sure. I mean, I think like top 4 teams. But it was, when we look back at the upsets, we had McNeese.
Mm-hmm. Which,
Arkansas.
how many people had McNeese already? I mean, that was what was tough, was McNeese and Colorado State. Colorado State was favored in that game. Like, it's just like, It was so hard to get behind these upsets.
And I'm still bitter. I've been on San Diego State since effing January. And
so much money on Michigan.
They played a god-awful first half. Their best score fouled out with 15 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
And they still were in a position to win, and they had 2 bunnies that didn't go in. I mean, that was heartbreak. High Point, I'll give Prater credit. He totally changed his defensive scheme. From the Big Ten tournament to the NCAA tournament with how they're defending the rim and everything. I'll give him credit. Totally took High Point out, and they're in a position to beat Houston.
I was going to say they almost did it against Houston, and I'll talk about that game in a little bit and kind of how that can work out. Purdue, I think, did a lot of things in that game to show, and Gonzaga did it against Houston too, that you can, if you can find your 3-point shot even a little bit, but otherwise you end up like Alabama State, who shot 2 of 28 in their first round matchup against Houston. So
as someone that had Purdue on the money line, I'm still a little bitter about that. I had so many of I had Purdue on the money line, Texas Tech on the money line, and the Texas Tech future, Michigan State future. This tournament for me is always going to be like the what if.
Sure.
But interested to hear what your bets are. But before we get into that, we need to take a look back and see how we did last week. For 1-1 last week, with Tyler hitting Florida -7, Duke's team total over 80.5, and Auburn -9. Old Uncle Rico hit Tennessee -3.5, pushed Michigan -3, and lost BYU +5.5. I need a bet on BYU. I mean, they scored 88 goddamn fucking points. Alabama set the record for 3-pointers made with 7 minutes left in the game.
It was
that was just one of those games where it's just like, dude, you know what? They're making shots. BYU can't hit shit, and they still scored 88. I'll take that bet 10 out of 10 times. But
I had the over in that one. That was one of those games where I was not going to be the guy that didn't bet the over in the shit show fest that was. Well, and we didn't even get to really see what overs could possibly be, and we probably won't talk about it much. But shout out the Crown for maybe one of the weirdest first-year tournament situations, not getting their gambling, like all their paperwork in order so that you can actually get lines for it. And then the team's just saying, yeah, we're not playing defense. And this has been an interesting one to watch.
So let's talk about that for a second.
I'm cool. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that. So here I am. It's Monday. I want to gamble.
Sure.
I'd start doing my research. I'm like, oh, you know what? I kind of like Butler against Utah. And for whatever reason, I just placed it on BetOnline. BetOnline, I think the juice was a little bit cheaper. I saved a couple pennies on the dollar. So I did that. I had a couple people that follow me send me messages on Twitter saying, why'd my bet get voided?
Oh, yeah. It was a slow trickle because you had to get the guys that were – because I think the offshores kept it up a little longer. Obviously, the regulated legal books need to move quicker. But it was slow rumblings. I was in Florida. I had my bets in with my book. Granted, that book at the time was the Hard Rock, which sucked because they did the same fucking thing. But it was just a slow trickle in of news, and none of us had answers. And I think it was – I hate to give them too much credit, but I think Action Network broke it and kind of went into the depths of, hey, this is why you're not getting lines.
And just think about that for a second. Now, I could go on this big vent. Like, I went on an event, like my boy Brad, who taught me everything I know about sports betting. Him and I were talking earlier today. I went on this huge vent about the whole industry and how everything's going on right now.
It's not a good spot.
I'm sorry?
The industry is in a weird spot.
And it's a total weird spot. It's a complete shit show spot.
Kind of garbage.
We got a sports book sponsoring this event that you can't bet on.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
We have a sports book sponsoring this event that you can't bet on.
Well, you have a sports book sponsoring the event on the TV station of a station that has a book. And it's like, dude, what are we doing?
It makes zero sense how you can't be in that order. And one more thing about the industry. I remember, I don't mean to sound like an old fuck. I missed 10 years ago. I missed when I had to do everything offshore.
Sure.
I missed when you would bitch about something to Big Tony and he would be like, fuck you. I'll come to your house, kick your ass. Big Tony, rest in peace, from 5 times. I miss that. I miss going to Western Union and fucking getting
money ordered
money ordered to me from some country and town I've never heard of, because that's what you had to do back in the day.
Yeah, when I was in college, it was Bovada, or I think my sophomore year, there was one guy that booked, but he limited you to $25, and the second you started winning, the text stopped coming. So yeah, no, we're in a much different spot, man. Being able to, in Florida, kind of does it in a weird way, I found out, and I didn't really fully understand it. So like they can only use Hard Rock, which is even worse than having like all the books. But and I know ProfitX is big into it. I think the exchanges, I think props and everything will have their own thing. I think FanDuel and DraftKings, they're going to always live on parlays, which is fine. I got no problem with that. People spend their money how they want, but when it comes to people wanting straight action, you got to almost go to the exchanges for A, what the prices you're paying, and B, what a lot of these books are doing. It's hard to give my money to them.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like, for me, like my thing in the morning, and like even like these services that are supposed to give you, oh, this is what they are currently trading at, like
sure,
or action. You get on them and you're like, oh, okay, it's minus 109 on Rivers, minus 105 on Caesar. I'll go there. Lines will be completely off.
Oh yeah,
like they doing work. So I'm here wasting time going through trying to find the best line possible, because those pennies add up.
Well, because the traders aren't good at props. All they do is find guys that are winners, adjust lines accordingly, and then they ban them and limit those guys. So yeah, it's all a crock to this point. I mean, it's awesome. It's bothersome, and the personalities that are like getting big in the space like have absolutely no background in the space. They're just kind of buffoonish, and B, they are not showing you any positive side of it. They're showing you they're showing you the glitz and glam of winning your bet, but everything else is just mute.
And I think the ladder challenge is idiotic. Like I
one of the out there,
completely dumbfounded. Now look, full transparency for me, on an NFL Sunday and college football Saturday, a college basketball Saturday, I'll do a round robin. But my round robins are all like, if I hit 2 out of the 4, I'm making money, because they're big money lines.
Mm-hmm.
They're like plus 190 or higher. I find 4 of them I like, I put it together. Now, we see these people that have 10 to 12 legs of a parlay, and they're struggling to get over 10 to 1. That irritates me too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just like when players that are this level, even at college, get on the field, weird shit can happen.
Yeah, and no matter what.
I can talk a full hour about the shit that's going on in the industry, but we're here to talk betting. So let's dive into the betting. But we have an interesting question real quick I wanted to get to. Thoughts on Buzz to Maryland?
I don't know, man. Maryland situation was odd to me. I mean, I get the moves. Interesting to see Buzz get into the Big Ten. Yeah, I was big on the Terps this year. It kind of fizzled out, obviously, at the end there. But yeah, obviously in our neck of the woods, he's pretty well known, well known in Wisconsin.
So the whole thing to me doesn't make sense, and this is why. Now look at Texas A&M, huge budget, but is that budget going to all the football team for the NIL stuff? And is that why Buzz is going to Maryland?
Yeah. I mean, there's a really good chance of that. We talked. I forget who was talking about it. It was like the last. I think they did the Elite 8 or the Sweet 16, and it's like, are they football schools? Are they basketball schools? Yeah, man. And it's going to be really hard for the traditional basketball schools to sell to their probably very elite coach that, yeah, you're not going to get the same cut as the football team. And yeah, there are other teams in the country that will give you that cut and more, because Maryland is a basketball school.
So with what you just said, could we see a shift where the Big East comes back to being the best basketball conference?
as it should be. The SEC right now is riding some sort of high that I've never obviously seen in my lifetime. And I think a lot of it is they do have a lot of NIL money right now. I think the wells dry up for some of these teams that are underperforming in the SEC. I think these donors are going to be like, all right, well, that didn't work. I'm going back to football. Whereas, yeah, you could see Big East schools start to rise up again. And this year obviously was not one for the Big East, but yeah, it's definitely something you could see that happen.
Could we see Oates move? He was rumored to be talking to Maryland.
That was the weirdness that I was mentioning is Oates to Maryland made very little sense to me, but what do you think?
It's always going to be a football school. Like, it is always going to be a football school. Now,
living in LA versus living in College Park, as I do have an aunt that lives in College Park, which is, it's okay. It's okay. It's not great. It's not LA.
But, I don't know.
But I do think the budget, the overall, I think what you got to look at, though, is the overall USC budget and NIL collective is probably so much deeper than Maryland is. I don't think the percentage split is maybe what you got to look at. You just got to look at what your lump sum is. I don't think.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying the ego, I don't think gets in the way as much as long as the lump sum matches what another school is going to give you.
Can Oates win a title with his style?
I thought his best chance to win a title was where he left last time. But I don't know, man. I'm not a huge Nate Oates guy, but
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a huge Oates guy either, even though he did coach in Michigan. But
and he did, yeah, he's done some special stuff. But I mean, yeah, the move to USC I didn't love, and the move to Maryland would make little sense to me. But that's how I feel about Oates.
All right, so let's move on. Let's jump right into it. First bet, my friend.
Yeah, man. First bet of the weekend for me, it is good old Cooper Flag going over 1.5 threes. It's plus 117. That was at DraftKings. Don't rely on that to be the same price, especially as you get closer to the weekend. I could definitely see that flip to it from a positive to a negative. Really, my thought process is Houston does everything well defensively, literally everything. The only thing that you won't see them ranked in the top 10 for is really 3-point attempts. And I talked about a way that Gonzaga and Purdue were able to keep the games close. Well, they shot 36% from three and snapped off 47 attempts. They were able to still keep up with them because Houston wasn't scoring big numbers, and Houston doesn't score big numbers. They're a good 3-point shooting team, but they're not going to like keep up with a Florida or something like that. But it is a matchup I want to see. But when I go look at Flag's not really a guy that's shooting a bunch of 3-pointers. The Baylor game, kind of odd, only had 16 points, but we did see him shoot 5, make 3 in the previous game against Arizona. But to me, yeah, I think the Boilermakers and the Zags kind of made the recipe known that you can make it. And I like the fact, the reason that Houston does allow teams to shoot that many threes is I just went dark again. But the reason they allow that is they're really long, right? We've heard about this all tournament, super long team, but not super tall. Cooper Flag, I think he's not going to have as big of an issue getting his shot off because he's long as hell, and the guy's got a really good release. So I like Flag over 1.5 threes. It's not a number he's hit a ton this year. I think it's right around the 35 percentile, but I like it at plus money.
I like it, but unfortunately, I'm on the Cougs, dude.
I know, I saw that.
In the game. I look at it like this. For me, it's the Houston men against the Duke boys. Houston, per Bartovic, 11th best offensive rebounding team in the country. Sure. I think this is going to lead to some second chance points. Duke has been elite defensively this year, but I really think this is just going to come down to Houston's ability to score second chance points in a game that is going to be very slow paced and have limited possessions. There's this drill that Houston does where Samson just puts a lid over the rim. And it's just nothing but offensive rebounds.
Dude, my high school coach did that drill with us. That was the first time I ever heard the name Calvin Sampson, and I've hated the guy ever since because that drill stinks.
And I think that's going to be the key. I just think the repetitiveness of that drill and just them being grown men against the young Duke starters. Duke facing a major uptick in defense, shot 54% from the floor, 46 from three. Now they're facing one of the best defenses in the country, like you mentioned, from Houston. Houston, number one in the country opponents points per game, 3 in opponent field goal percentage. Samson, 56% ATS as an underdog at Houston in Final Fours, where 2 1 seeds are facing off. The underdog the last 20 years, 72.7% against the number. Since 1978.
Good trend.
Yeah. Oh, I got a couple of trends here. Since 1978, the coach with more Final Four experience is 70-44 straight up, 61-52-1 ATS in the Final Four or national championship. When we look at Sampson versus Shire, coaches with 2+ Final Four appearances are 10-6 ATS as the underdog. Houston.
I don't hate it.
I'm sorry?
I don't hate it. No, I like Flagg to get his points, but I don't hate Houston hanging in there. 5 in a really low scoring game, man. 5.5 is a lot of points.
And it's going to be neither of these teams push the pace. I think the big thing with Houston this year, Cryer and Sharp, they have 2 guys that can create off the dribble, which they haven't had in the past. 39.7%, 4th best in the country from 3. Both teams play at the slow pace. Houston, 4th slowest in the country. Duke, 297th. When you're playing a game that's going to have limited possessions, and both these teams are the top 2 teams in every single metric, you have to take the team getting the 5. Ken Palm has this as a Duke 2-point win. Hazelmetrics, listen to this. Duke 66.65, Houston 66.29. And I'm getting 5.5 on Duke. Look, when I look at the trends, I gotta take Houston here. Here's another one for you. Since 2020, Houston's been an underdog 6 times. 5-1 against the number, covering by an average of 8.4 points per game. Defense, trends.
You're telling me I need to take the reverse line.
I'm taking Houston, dude. I'm gonna go on the money line too. I'm gonna take Houston.
Dude, I'm a Badger fan. You think I have a problem with Duke losing? Don't tell me that the Blue Devils are gonna lose. I'll stand up and clap.
Next bet, my friend. Where are you going?
Yeah, so I'm going. I think same game that you're moving after this one. I got Florida laying 2.5 against Auburn. For me, Auburn at the end of the season was a huge head scratcher. Obviously, amazing up until the last weekend. I talked about it on stream. I bet the Texas A&M game during the regular season there at the end. I took A&M outright. I think they're plus 190. Auburn just didn't look right. Now they did kind of snap back into it. Good first start to the tournament. Then things get a little bit goofy. We talked about last weekend, Michigan had them on the ropes, dude. 48-39 with 12 minutes and 12:26 remaining. You beat Michigan State despite 23% from 3, and they shot 11 of 20 at the line. These guys were absolutely playing with fire. Creighton had it to a 6-point game with a minute 40 left. So I think Auburn right now has been playing a really, really not their kind of basketball from what we've seen. And I like Florida. I like the way Florida plays. But I'm going to talk a little bit about Florida a little bit later, so I'll leave it at that.
My next one, I'm gonna stay in the Houston game. I'm gonna take, and you know what? This is gonna be dicey. I played 2 first half unders tonight. I lost Loyola Chicago, Chattanooga won by 2, and I lost the UC Irvine, North Texas won by 0.5 point. But I'm gonna do it here. I'm gonna play under 63.5 in Duke and Houston. Neither teams play at a fast pace. I mentioned this before. Houston, 4th slowest team in the country. Duke, 297th in tempo. 3 of Houston's 4 tournament games have gone under this total. Houston 20-15-1 to the first half under. I really think that Sampson is just going to be like, look, we're going to grind this out. This is going to be a half-court game. We're going to just force these guys to play 30 seconds of defense and not get in an up and down thing, even though, like I said, Duke doesn't like to get out and run. Teams playing in a football stadium often struggle with depth perception and everything. I think this is going to be played with a lot of nerves, slower play, missed shots, expecting both teams to set up defensively. And when we look at it, both teams shot great last game. I think they're both due for some negative shooting regression. And both teams, huge uptick in defense they're going against. I think this is going to be like 25-27 at halftime. I think this is going to be insanely low scoring. So
I agree. I agree with everything you just said there. I think it's not going to be a game that's aesthetically pleasing at all, but I think it is going to be exciting. And I like what you said there about basketball players playing in football stadiums. Yeah, we've seen the depth perception be an issue before, and that'll only help me with my bet. For the last one that I'm going, it's my favorite one of the weekend. I like Janai Broom under 2.5 assists. Shout out to us for just betting all the unders this weekend. Very exciting. Everybody loves that. No wonder we don't get popular. All we do is bet the under. Anyways, so looking at Florida, one of the reasons I love them, obviously, is their speed and everything they can do there, but they've got some really good balance. They're going to have multiple people that they're going to be able to throw at Broom. And this is not a number he's done very well against this season. He's averaging 1.7. In the postseason, it's gone down to 1.2. He's not hit it in their 6 postseason games. He's kept it under 3. Looking at in the first 7 games of the season, he was chucking threes. Somebody got in his ear. He was averaging over 4 threes per game. Somebody absolutely got in his ear because they dropped that down to under 2.5. But then we saw the correlation from 3. The second he goes from outside the 3-point line to inside, all of a sudden, his assist numbers start to disappear to the point where he had half of his assists in non-conference play, which is a third of the games. So this is a really good number for me. I like, again, the shooting inside a stadium because a lot of his opportunities are going to end up obviously being on kickouts. They don't really run a lot of pick and roll with him, so I'm not really worried about that. And he's a little banged up. I don't know if that's going to be a huge issue. He's not practicing officially, I guess, till Thursday. But I think he's going under the total. I don't hate, though. They've got over 10.5 rebounds for plus money, and he's been just mucking up the boards. But, again, banged up. I think it ended up being, a wrist, not an elbow, as we thought. Yeah, so tough, man. But I like the under 2.5. That's going to be my favorite play.
I thought that was when he went down. I was like, oh shit, Michigan State. They've been so close to getting over the hump. They can't make anything. He's going out. This is when they're going to make their run. That's when I thought
everything was going to flip. And then once you saw him check into the game, you were like, oh shit.
I got an over for my last one. And I'm going to say this. If you guys have a strong feeling about a player, this is the time to play the most outstanding player odds.
Yeah.
So if you think, hypothetically, you think Florida is going to win it, like look at their most out, because you're going to get a better price now than you
don't take Florida to win out. Find somebody.
And I'm probably going to put a little bit on this guy I'm going to mention right now. Give me Martin over 13.5 points on Saturday. He plays on Florida against Auburn, second leading scorer for Florida this season and in the tournament. He's gone over he's gone over 13.5 in 3 of the 4 games. And one thing that we're starting to see is during the regular season, he averaged 11.3 shots per game. In this tournament, he's averaging 14 per game. So he's starting to be more aggressive. They're starting to rely on him a lot more.
Obviously, you tighten that rotation when things get here.
Obviously, the offense, runs through Clayton. But with Auburn going to focus on Clayton, this is going to open up better looks for Martin. He is coming off his worst shooting game of the tournament 3 of 10 from the floor, 0 of 4 from beyond the arc. So he's due for some positive shooting regression. He missed the game earlier in the season when they played. They only played Auburn, and Florida only played once, and they missed that. And I think that's a benefit for him because that way Auburn hasn't seen him. He's got the experience being on FAU when they made that deep tournament run, playing in the Final Four before. So the nerves aren't going to be there.
Was on that. I was going to mention that before. Yeah, that he was on that team.
So I like this one. Right now I think he's like 28-1 to win most outstanding player.
I mean,
I think that's going to be it, my man.
Worth a sprinkle for sure.
Couple questions right here. Did you guys see Auburn starters are basically the same age as the Thunder, and one of their starters is older than Zion?
Yeah, they're all my age, and I'm old. I'm old.
Dude, I'm old. I have years on you, man. I'm old as dirt, dude. And like, I was talking to one of my guys I played basketball with growing up, and we were just saying, like, literally, like, how different shit is now. Like, you can like milk a season. Like, look at who's the quarterback from Vanderbilt who's like,
Pavia.
Yeah, he's coming back for what, year 7?
Coming back, baby.
There was 30-year-olds playing quarterback. It's like, dude, go get in the fucking real world, man.
Well, I look back at it. I played Division III football, which is not like a super big achievement, and having to go up as a 19-year-old against even 23-year-olds, and I don't think we had anybody older than 23 really. That was incredibly hard to go up against a 27-year-old who's gotten 8 or 26-year-old has gotten 6-7 years of Division I training, nutrition, the weightlifting. I mean, all of it. I mean, no shit. They're all fucking no kidding. They're playing in this position, and they did it by design, that's totally fine. And we'll see if other teams kind of are able to do this. Obviously, they've got really special guys right now. But yeah, I put the fries in the bag, bro.
It's like, dude, just you know what? And during the college football season, like I was given Bowman from Oklahoma State so much.
Sure.
And he did get he was able to come back for an 8th season, but I'll give him credit. He's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm leaving. Yeah. And I'll give him credit because like
he's doing what Hunter Dickinson should have done. He walked away. Like Hunter Dickinson was not liked last year, and coming back made it so much worse.
Oh my God. And Hunter Dickinson, I was really like my big prediction for the NCAA tournament was and I had Kansas losing to Arkansas, is Self would go on the podium and he would just throw Hunter Dickinson under the table. Just say, my mistake was signing that piece of shit.
Itched my way. Guys should have kept him in the Northwoods.
Everywhere it goes, it's just awful. But
yeah.
Okane, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your schedule, coming on and talking a little college football. When you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, my friend.
Yeah.
And you have Lock Talk. Are you going to be doing that like once football starts up? What's going to be going on with Lock Talk?
Yeah, so we'll see. Right now, Joey, my co-host for Lock Talk, wasn't able to join me for the second half of the year. He was in the process of getting married, which I believe that is going to be soon. I don't know exactly when his date is. But yeah, the idea is this was kind of my so I do Lock Talk. I did it through college basketball the first few weeks. Didn't do anything last weekend being in Florida, and this was kind of my final stream of the year. But yeah, the odds of me coming back is probably high. I do have a son that is expected in June, so we will see how fatherhood affects my ability to hop on stream. But yeah, no, at minimum, I will be coming on your stream come football season. I will promise that.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. You are always one of my favorite guests. Everyone always messages me and tells me how much they like you on here and everything. So I look forward to that. And you know what? Good luck, man. Those first couple of weeks are going to be a little sleep deprived, man. Make sure you get a little coffee, dude. I'll send you Give me your address. I'll send you like a quart of Folgers or whatever.
No shit. Well, I took this year. I decided to do all my streams. I usually do them at night. This year, I purposely did them at 6 a.m. and hit a 4 a.m. wake up call. I'm back to 6 a.m. wake up calls now for a little bit. And then once Junior shows up, I'm sure it's midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Not my call. So
thank you for coming on, my friend. Appreciate you as always. We're definitely gonna have to hook up once everything calms down on your end for a Brewers game or something. And make sure to give him a follow on social media at _Okane_ on X. Best of luck in your bets, and we'll talk soon, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Eric.